This is just so awesome.
All right, let's get the family together.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Did you talk to Tim?
That's Tim.
Good, good. How about Boots?
Boots should be here.
Excellent. What about the other brothers and sisters? There's 9 of you, right?
2 of them live out of state and they're not here.
Okay, no worries. Still a good crowd. You excited?
Will he be coming up?
How excited?
Just a little.
Thought so.
This is so awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yes, it is. Imagine waiting for your loved one to come home just like those miners' families did. It's something special.
A miracle has happened. Those guys have been under there for so stinking long, and they're coming up. And my brother helped do that.
It's probably been a while since Julie has been this excited about seeing her brother.
His approach is coming. There he is.
But let's hold that excitement back for just a couple more seconds, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Julie. Anyways, Jeff's family stood in line side by side.
And you need a medium?
Wearing matching shirts, waiting.
Can we see him? Can we see him?
She couldn't hold it back. Waiting for Jeff's arrival.
Chile. We got him out in Chile.
And when he finally came, well, this pretty much sums it up.
Oh my God, you're so awesome, buddy. You are so awesome.
Among the many who couldn't pull their eyes off Jeff was Jeff's son Dylan,
Wherever there's problems, he goes.
who calls his dad a hero.
No, we're not. We just do our job every day. The real hero, as I've said before, there was one gentleman in that mine that took control, and for 14 days had 33 guys live on 1 can of tuna fish a day.
Jeff also thinks his colleagues are heroes. The other 3 men from Colorado who helped drill that hole and ultimately helped save those miners.
War so I can express, what I feel over there, and I'm so happy we do it 100% right.
Amazing to be a part of something so important. Really glad we could help out. Couldn't be happier for the families down there.
I've worked in mining. I know how my family feels when I get home, how much they miss me. I was glad to be able to get those guys home to their families.
That's what meant the most to this group, family. Whether it was their own or the miners, it's all about family.
It was absolutely a fairy tale come true because it actually worked out.
It's a nice, quiet neighborhood.
Something is missing near the corner of Otis Court and Reno Drive,
I was shocked.
and no one seems to know where it went.
Where everybody watches out for each other
Where they went.
because I think they're cute.
They are gnomes.
Somebody stole my gnomes.
Martin Gibson's gnomes, to be exact.
They're supposed to bring you good luck.
And sometime in the middle of the night, their luck ran out.
That's why I was laughing.
One by one, they started to disappear.
Oh, and I had a whole bunch around the wheelbarrow.
From the front lawn
Isn't that weird?
to the backyard,
I had them all over in front of my flower pots here.
in all
back
points
here.
in between.
And then I had them on the brick.
Mardine had about 200 of them, and they all looked
He
different.
was like this. He had his legs crossed, laying down, and he was sleeping.
Some of them lived in gnome communities.
I had houses, they were mushroom homes.
But those little gnomes who lived in those little homes were snatched up by someone awful.
Shame on them.
Mardine called the cops. They said they would look into it.
And they didn't take this one.
That doesn't bring too much relief to Mardine, though. She started collecting the gnomes 5 years ago, and they cost about $2,000.
And these guys aren't cheap.
What's more depressing for Mardine is the neighbors who adored her collection, including the little girl next door.
So when she came over this morning, there was no gnomes. And she goes, no gnomes.
So know this, gnome thief. You've made one community really upset.
Yes.
And Mardine hopes her gnomes don't bring you any luck.
You can't have anything nice anymore.
In Arvada, this is Kevin Torres, 9 News.
Murder is darkness.
Time is an interesting thing.
14 years, 11 months, and 20 days.
No matter how much of it has passed,
I didn't want to go at first.
there will always be that one day,
And Linda says we need to.
that one location
It was pretty tough.
that always sticks in your mind.
If a person ever has the darkest moments in their life, that's it.
For Everett and Linda Donaldson, that day was brought back today,
You really have to reach into your depths of your soul.
March 18th, 1996.
It's evil.
The day Everett's daughter's body was found. Investigators say Chester Todd picked her up at a Commerce City bar, brutally murdered her, then dropped her here. Back then, investigators said Todd likely committed similar crimes.
It gave us pause and made us start to look at him as a possible candidate for serial killer.
Today, police couldn't elaborate.
And I can't comment about that.
But they, like many others, know today is about much more.
It's been a mystery truly to where he has been for so many years. And we are certainly pleased to learn of the arrest.
No one could be as pleased as Sherry's parents.
A lot of relief.
Yes, time has a funny way of changing things, and today, the timing was just right.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that this man is going to finally be incarcerated, and hopefully for the rest of his life.
Oh, that's a lot of paint.
There are moments in our lives when the simple things
Paintbrush just for you.
tend to cover up the difficult ones.
Look at my hands. That's not funny. Look at that's my girl.
We search for ways to create life,
You do the most beautiful paintings.
even when life is fading away.
We didn't want to miss out on 1 second of her life.
It was only a few months ago when Delaney Wadsworth was diagnosed with a rare brain tumor.
3 months ago, it was only about the size of a golf ball.
Since then, it has grown to the size of a grapefruit.
It decides to start growing. It's fast.
It's like we're not ready yet. You know, it's happening. Everything's happening too fast.
Delaney's parents know they're running a race they cannot win.
We don't know how to say goodbye.
All they can do is enjoy the moments along the way.
We took her to do as much stuff as we knew how to do.
They traveled, visited family, bought her whatever she wanted.
She wanted to have some farm animals and stuff, so we got her some goats and a lamb.
They even gave her a birthday 1 month in advance, knowing she probably wouldn't live to see the actual date.
I just cried. And I still cry. Because I'm really going to miss her. You're going to miss your children. They're not supposed to go before you.
If there is any comfort for Delaney's parents, it's knowing their daughter has accepted and welcomed her fate.
And she says, "Oh, Mommy, I'm so excited I'm dying." I said, "Baby, who told you that?" She said, "God told me."
It's only a matter of days, weeks at best, before Delaney's sun begins to set.
I can't imagine life without her.
As she prepares to leave our world, she has one last wish.
Her dying wish would be for everyone to just give each other a hug.
For all of us to bring a little color into our lives.
And to just let things go.
In Windsor, this is Kevin Torres, 9 News.
It is a symbol of the West.
There once was a time when the southwest corner of Wyoming was as wild as the horses that roam its range.
We had thousands and thousands of horses in Wyoming when I returned here in 1979.
Like many wild horse advocates, Janine Stallings knows how the 1970s changed the animals' lives.
I'd like to see wild horses left alone, period.
In 1971, the Wild Free Roaming Horses and Burros Act gave the Bureau of Land Management power to control wild horses.
The first time I saw a wild horse was when I went to a gathering outside of Rock Springs, Wyoming.
The towns surrounding Rock Springs are home to hundreds of wild horses, a number far lower than it used to be. In his free time, Jay DeWart cares for 4 of the animals, but at work he manages many more.
We take pride in what we do, and
DeWart is in charge of the Divide Basin herd for the BLM.
And the appropriate management level is 400 to 600 animals, and at this time we're over double the high end of the appropriate management level.
DeWart says it's necessary to round up the wild horses so they don't take over the land.
These public lands are multiple use, and there's a lot more creatures that depend on it, especially at this time of year.
They're not damaging the land. Cattle do far much more damage to the land.
Advocates believe the BLM is helping ranchers who want more land for their cattle. They say there's a money exchange going on.
I call them the Bureau of Livestock Management.
It's kind of a lack of education on their part for saying what they're saying. It's like politics and religion, you know, no matter what you say to them, they're going to believe what they believe, and they're going to say it.
Advocates are saying a lot, and they're challenging the BLM in every way possible.
They flat lie about everything.
Especially when it comes to the BLM's description of the wild horses. The BLM says the horses are starving and don't have much to eat.
The horses that are coming off the range are fat, sassy horses. They look like horses in any pasture around here, maybe better.
There is not enough feed out there or water.
Amy Ruse is in charge of the BLM's adoption program in Wyoming. When the horses are rounded up, they're brought here to a horse holding pen in Rock Springs.
If you have kids, you send your kids off to schools prepare them for life. And I kind of look at the horses the same way. I don't look at it as we're breaking up families. I feel like we're bringing them horses to families.
Advocates will argue horses are not humans, they're animals. And out of the 2,000 wild horses that were rounded up in this corner of Wyoming last fall, the BLM says only 25 of them have been adopted out.
Like it or not every single one of those horses is an adoptable horse.
Then there is the concern over the collection process. Each year, dozens of wild horses are killed during roundups.
They're utterly terrified. They're utterly terrified.
The BLM says most of the horses die because they're sick.
They all have different opinions.
It is a tough debate that will likely carry on for years to come. While the BLM looks for ways to round up horses, advocates will continue to search for ways to keep the West wild.
We should not ever put any animal through that.
In the southwest corner of Wyoming, this is Kevin Torres, 9 News.
It's just really a natural and a very, very special place when you're here.
The mountains that straddle the Arkansas Valley through Chaffee County
You feel centered here.
tend to hide a graveyard of forgotten farms.
There's a lot of farms and ranches that are being sold and split up.
Along a rural stretch of Highway 50,
Pretty rural. It doesn't feel rural because we're right on Highway 50, but
there is one farm
And it's just been a kind of an icon in our valley.
that has survived what so many other farms have not.
Come on.
Abigail Hutchinson is the 7th-generation rancher to manage her family's farm.
Kind of show you the ranch and show you the cows.
It's been around since 1860.
We pretty much do it the same way my 7 greats ago grandfather did. And
when her family noticed the ranch was crying for help, they knew they needed to do something.
And the family had kept it up, as well as they could through the years.
As a preservationist and someone who has visited the Hutchinson Ranch as a kid, Katie Grether knew how to help.
It just made it a very appropriate and rewarding project.
She submitted an application for grant money from the state, which is collected from casinos and other gambling operations.
It's been a really wonderful thing for Colorado. We couldn't have done it without it.
To this day, the Hutchinson Ranch has received nearly $500,000 to restore its homestead, its barns, land, and so much more. Something Abigail's 86-year-old grandfather is proud of.
It's been this way for 100 years, and just well keep it that way.
That's the whole family's ultimate goal, is to see it stay as a ranch and see it stay as open space.
It's all about keeping parts of Colorado the way they used to be, the way Abigail says they ought to be.
I love it.
In Salida, this is Kevin Torres, 9 News.